All right. Well, hi guys. Here I am in my little apartment with my little blue table, and I'm going to teach you about some trapezoids and a little bit of information about kites. So, if you have printed this set of notes out, great, you can fill it in. If not, you can just fill it in on a blank sheet of paper, that's fine. But here we go. So what is a trapezoid? It is a quadrilateral with exactly one pair of parallel sides. The parallel sides are the bases, and then the other sides are referred to as the legs. So there you go. A trapezoid has one pair of parallel sides. Now, if these lines or these sides are parallel, then my question to you is, what kind of angles do we have right here? Just envision or remember that old diagram that we spent so much time on that just feels like forever ago. These are same side interior angles. So these angles here add up to 180. So those two are supplementary, same side interior, and these two are supplementary angles. Does not mean that they are congruent. Like, it doesn't mean like this is the same as this, or this is the same as this, but we know on both sides they add up to 180. So, there you go. Another fun fact. An isosceles trapezoid, you could probably figure this one out on your own, but it's a trapezoid with two congruent legs. Now, if you have an isosceles trapezoid, making these legs congruent, then you do have two pairs of congruent base angles. So that means that this angle and this angle will be congruent, and this angle and this angle will be congruent. But that's only true for isosceles trapezoids, okay? And just the fact that it's a trapezoid means that these will add up to 180, so that's true for all trapezoids, but only isosceles trapezoids have the congruent base angles. Okay, so if we come to this first example here, you have an isosceles trapezoid. It says fill in the other angles. Well, I know if it's isosceles, this has to also be 50 degrees. And I know that these two angles will add up to 180. So then these are also, those are both 130 degrees. Now, since it's a quadrilateral, that means all four of the angles are going to add up to 360 degrees. So that's just a way that you could check yourself. Real quick check. Make sure you got it. Okay, second example. It says show that this is a trapezoid. And you will notice this trapezoid is imposed here on the coordinate plane. So a little bit of algebra. So if you're thinking, okay, how can I prove that that's a trapezoid? Well, if you go back to what we know about trapezoids, it's a quadrilateral with one pair of parallel sides. And if I want to show that two lines are parallel, what can I use to prove that? Yes, you are correct. I'm just going to assume that you said that parallel lines have the same slope. So then if I'm looking at these two lines, if I count up over, this has a slope of 1 over 1, and this, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. This also has a slope of 1. I don't know what's happening there, but there you go. So they have the same slope, so those lines are parallel, meaning that's a trapezoid. Okay? Okay. All right. Now for the second page here. Now I have to say I cannot see my video right now, so I'm just assuming that this is in a good spot. So fingers crossed on that. Mid-segment of a trapezoid. I know you could never guess what a mid-segment was, but it's just a segment that connects the midpoints of the legs. Okay, I just drew that in there, obviously. But yeah, very clever title. Now there's a theorem that goes along with those mid-segments, and here it is. The mid-segment of a trapezoid, it's parallel to each base, and its length is 1/2 of the sum of the length of the bases. So if you look at this diagram here to the left, it says MN, which is our mid-segment, is equal to half, and I just put these letters in here, half of x plus y. So that's pretty straightforward. As soon as I finish talking about kites, I will also make a video going over some examples of a mid-segment of a trapezoid. Okay, so I know you're looking forward to that. Okay, now kites here. You should have found these facts when you were looking through the Math is Fun website. Best website ever. But kite theorems. So for a kite, its diagonals are perpendicular, and you should remember from the proofs chapter, perpendicular lines make right angles. So the diagonals of a kite make right angles when they intersect. So that's one fun fact we have about kites. Second fun fact, one pair of opposite angles is congruent or congruent. I think either would work there. But a kite has two pairs of congruent sides, one pair of opposite angles that are congruent. So the opposite congruent angles happen where the non-congruent sides intersect. Try to say that as least confusing as possible. So yeah, it's not the angles where the congruent sides come together. Those two angles are not congruent. These two angles are. Okay? So then my one example here using our theorems of kites says find the side lengths of the kite. Well, I know that, they even marked it in here for you. For the diagonals, they make right angles, so we just have some right triangles, so you can just set up Pythagorean theorem. Or if you're really on top of it, you could notice that this is one of our special right triangles. It's the isosceles right triangle. So I know W would just be 12 root 2, if you remember that fun information. Or you could just solve the Pythagorean theorem. When you work this out, you get, let me see here. I think it's 500, yeah. 544 equals x squared. So when you square root that, I'm going to be honest, I don't know what that decimal is. But the radical, when you simplify it, is 4 root 34. And that would go here. Alright, there you go. Some fun facts about trapezoids and kites. Thanks for watching!